me on today.
For all you've done to your bodies. It's
Sorry about that. That was the wrong video. But anyway, we're here with Coach Eddy Norris of the Gadsden State Lady Cardinals. Coach Norris, little technical difficulties to start the show, but we finally got you on here. Thanks for joining us tonight, Coach.
Hey, listen, guys, like I said, first and foremost, thanks for having me on. And like I said, that's okay. I mean, we don't like it easy, okay? You know, we like it. Sometimes we like it tough. You know, as players, great players like it tough. The ones that we can adapt and overcome. We're good.
Absolutely. You're breaking in and out a little bit. I don't know how well your cell service is there in your office, but thanks for joining us. We'll ask questions real quick, try to get you on and out real quick, and but we appreciate your time and congratulations on the job. You know, this is your first year as the head coach at Gadsden State this past season. Not the type of season you wanted to end on, but still, you know, a building block.
Yeah. Guys, my service is not very good right here.
Coach, I don't know if you can hear us or not. Would you like to go move to a different location and see how that goes? Well, we lost him, Phil. Phil, you still got me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal.
So maybe he'll try to move to a different location. Yeah, I got about 10 things going on at once. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's great to have Coach Norris on, and maybe we'll get things, you know, communicated well, because yeah, you was fixing to talk on his first season, probably not, you know, the kind of season he wanted to have, but you know, he kind of got thrown into the fire because he left Coosa to be assistant coach actually at Gadsden State, and ended up being the head coach because the head coach left. So he had a dual job in being head coach and assistant coach. So that's a tough way to start in your first year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's with a man like Coach Eddy Norris. Let's try it one more time. Let's bring Coach Norris back in.
Okay.
Good thing we wasn't saying. That's the thing about this. You don't know when somebody's going to pop on and off real quick. So you kind of got to watch what's going on. And, hey, the founder of RiverCity-Media is joining us too.
Hey, I saw Coach was having a hard time. I thought I might be able to jump in and help. Looks like he got back on. So let me go away, boys.
Yeah, it's just he's where he's located at. His cell service is not real good, so that's why he's having a little bit of technical issue.
Okay. Well, I'll be listening. Y'all have a great show.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Coach Norris. That's Randall Cunningham, the founder of RiverCity-Media, and but I was talking about earlier. Thanks for joining us. You just finished up your first season, not the way you kind of really hoped it would end, but as a building block for your future success.
Hey, yes, sir. Well, we started out just initially wanted to come on board and help out Coach Marty Dixon. He was your head coach and here at Gadsden State, and he's a good friend of mine. So he asked me to come on board and help him out. So that's what our primary intention was to help him with this year's team. And some unfortunate circumstances came up. He had to step aside for personal reasons and had some family matters he had to attend to. So, you know, we took over and December the 16th, and we finished out the season, you know, playing pretty well. We competed well against some of the teams that were in our Division I conference, but we ended up 3-11. It was our league record. Last year they were, let's say they were 2-12. The year before that, they only won a game or two. But so yeah, we were about 5 points away from making it to the tournament, the state tournament this year. So we competed really well with some of the teams that were involved in that. We are currently still involved with the recruiting. Recruiting has been going really well with us. We've had 9 young ladies on campus. We've had 7 of those young ladies that have committed to our program. And these are young ladies that are being recruited by other schools as well. So they know that we can help develop and that we can help them become better players than they will as they enter as a freshman. We had one of our sophomores get an option to go to Division I school last week. That was always a dream of hers, and so I called a Division I coach and told her that, convinced her to offer our young lady, and she told me that she would, and she did. So moving forward, that's a really big boost because these other ladies that we're recruiting realize that that could be possible for them. They've got to come and they got to develop and get better, and then as a result, they might have the same opportunity for them. But going to a Division I institution is a dream of a lot of young males and females, and we've got one on this year's squad that's going to be able to take advantage. We got a couple of young ladies that we're still hoping that will select us as their school. We've had a couple of young ladies that dropped down from a 4-year level to come play for us next year, which that's always a boost. Generally, you go from a 2-year to a 4-year school, but when you have someone coming down from a 4-year to a 2-year school, they're wanting to come to a program that they can trust to help them develop so that they can move back and get to a program that will be a better fit for them. So a lot of bright things happening. I know the administration's happy. They're excited. Our coach, Coach Jackson Millender, he helped coach at Jackson State and Shelton State. He's excited to be on board. So, and our young ladies, the ones that are currently coming to school to attend workouts, they're excited about the future of this program. And you need that excitement. You need that positivity in your program. And that only boosts for, the way that you perform and then, of course, the way that you can recruit. But, the number one thing is we got to recruit people with talent. And it's got to be a good fit for both us and them. And the third thing is we're recruiting young ladies that have good character. That's important. We need to have a good culture, and we will have. I've been blessed to be a part of many good programs that have been very successful, and those programs were a lot better, and they were sustained for a lot longer because we had good character and good culture. So that's something that that's going to be a priority here moving forward, and we're excited because it's fun to be in the gym when you got people around you that are like-minded. They're there to get better. They show up early, they leave late, they're willing to put in the work, and as a result, good things can happen.
Absolutely. Coach, I tell you what we're going to do is cut this first 4 minutes out of your monologue and show all the other coaches and say, here's the way we want to do it here on River City Media. We ask one question and you take up a lot of the time.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't know how long you was going to have me on tonight, but listen, first and foremost, thank you for just giving us this platform. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we're going to do what we can to, help this program get back to where it needs to be. And it's going to take a lot of hard work, but it can be done. You can go to a program that's used to winning and step in and win, or you can go to a program that's not used to winning and turn it around and turn it into a program that everybody be proud of. And that's what we want to do here.
No, don't take that as a bad thing that I say, and that's a compliment, Coach. We love it because we get coaches on here and say, hey, you had a rough season last year. Yeah, it was bad. And that's all they'd say. They wouldn't kind of go into any details, but we love it, Coach. I love it. So, and as far as time-wise, we are here until you tell us, guys, I got to go. I got things to do. So we'll have you on here as long as we can because we love communicating with the people. We love having people from Gadsden State and the local areas on here talking about their programs, especially programs that's kind of been on the downside a little bit, working their way to get back up, and new faces at new places. And your thoughts on that, new faces at new places, you think that's a plus or a minus?
Well, the thing about it is, sometimes you have to bring in new blood. You have to bring in somebody that can, that might take a different approach to maybe trying to get to the same end result. It's good to have, after playing in college and coaching in college, and then my kids playing in college and coaching and playing at the Division I level for so many games and for so many years, and enjoying, just being a part of that process and knowing exactly what it takes, not only as a parent, but as a player to go through it. And see, the thing about it is, I'm a product of this system. I went to a junior college and played 2 years, had a successful career, and then moved on to a 4-year school and coached there for 3 years, and then went to a university and coached there, and then been in high school coaching for 25 years after that. And then I've added other years at different levels since then. So it's one of those things where, it's good to get out there and see, and work in different situations and seeing what you need to do to make this better, and how you can maybe surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that have the same, goals in mind that you may have. But, it all depends on, we try to find, like I said, a lot of people that are, that are hard workers, that just never settle for second best, that are willing to give us their best each and every day. And then, as a result, then good things generally happen. Sometimes things have changed. I know that when I started back coaching high school basketball in 1990, we had kids that they listened to your coach. The coach, he knew best. And then, then we would win. 3 years later, we were 27-3, ranked number 1 in the state. Oh yeah, he really knows what he's doing. But a lot of that was because the parents that were supportive, and the young men that was coaching, they bought into it. We need these young women here to buy into it, the ones who are on campus, and they know that we've been successful. I mean, the Lord's blessed us. We've, like I said, been around good coaches, good assistant coaches, good players, good parents. You don't win the number of games that we've been a part of, or having a part in doing, without having a good supporting cast around you. But then moving forward, everybody's got to be moving in the same direction. And so we've got work to do. Division I college athletics is tough. There are some really good teams, and they've been good for a number of years, and they'll continue to be better because they recruit at a high level, and they have good coaching. And so you bring in good players and mix that with good coaching, pretty good recipe right there. So we've got to do some catching up. We've got to be able to recruit at that level, and we've got to be able to develop and the young ladies we bring in so that we can compete on that level, because Shelton's not going to back up. Wallace State, they're not backing up. They're moving forward. And we've got to do the same thing here at Gadsden State. But, we're thankful that the administration, they know that, and they know that we have their support, and that's important. We need to have the support of the administration so that we can, do things that will be most beneficial to our student athletes. And we continue to bring in good people from good families, and that makes things a little bit better. Like I said, because you got to have a good culture. You need a good locker room. And, the way you can identify that, if the young ladies are saying the same thing in the locker room that I'd be saying if I was there, but I'm not. If they're saying those things, then that's something good.
Coach, I tell you what, you're bringing up so many points and everything. I hope you ate a good lunch, because we're going to keep you on here for quite a while, going back and touching on some of these points. So I hope you're able to stand there as long as we want you here, because we got a lot of questions, and I've got one more, and then I'll turn it over to Phil. And you mentioned something, being a parent of not one but two athletes. Does that help you on your recruiting as far as going into a person's home and talking to the parents, saying, hey, I know what it's like to be where you're sitting at? Does that help you out a lot?
It does. That's a good question. Howie, thanks. Yeah, so I used to be, Riley Norris and Jordan Norris and Drew Norris. Everywhere I went, they were my shadow. They were out there with me. So they said, you must be Coach's son, or you must be Coach's daughter. And they'll say, yes, sir, I am, or yes, ma'am, I am. And then now, every time I go somewhere, they say, you must be Riley's dad, or you must be Jordan's dad. So that's what I'm getting now. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, yeah, but that is a good point. I don't use it as a selling point, but most time when I'm in front of a parent or some supporters that are there with our hero campus with a prospective athlete, they say, you must be Riley Norris's dad. I know who you are, or something like that. Or you must be Jordan Norris's dad, and, something like that. But most of the time they've done their homework like I've done. When we went down to visit with Florida, my son Riley was interested in going to the University of Florida. So we were down talking to Billy Donovan, the head coach at the time, who won national championships in 2006 and 2007. And he was, he could have been the governor of the state of Florida if he wanted to be. He was that popular. But anyway, I'm sitting there at his desk in front of him, and I'm telling him, I said, I knew who his wife was. I knew who his children was. I knew everything about him and his family, and he knew that, and he appreciated that because we'd done our homework, But that's a good thing going in, that them, they know you, that helps you become more comfortable moving forward, because it's the thing about trust. It's sort of like if you as a parent, you're entrusting your teachers at school or your coaches that coach your son or daughter, you're entrusting them with the ability to do what's best for their welfare, help them become a better athlete or student, and then help them and put them in a situation where they can enjoy it, because they need to have fun. Because the more fun they have, the tendency is that they're going to do more work and their work is going to be better. And as a result, your team will benefit. And that's their end result. If they're not happy, they're not going to be a good student or not do as well as they can, or they're not going to be the athlete that they can be. So we have to try to bridge that gap so that, there is a relationship there. But then again, I was chasing a rabbit there, I guess. Your question was, does it help that people can identify you because of how you coached and raised your children? My oldest son, Drew, was a really good athlete too. That was recruited in multiple sports. Unfortunately, he had a couple of accidents on the football field that sort of, led to some injuries that he had a hard time overcoming. Who knows how he could have been? He was a 6'5" point guard in basketball, and he was a really good quarterback in the spread on offense. And he was a starter as a 10th grader, and he's, starter at a 6A school as a junior and senior. So, but sometimes those happen. Now, Drew and Riley both are still involved in coaching to some extent, and it's amazing what they're doing with their lives and how they're passing on what they learned to those that are coming along. But they always will be. I mean, all my kids grew up in a gym, so they feel at home there, and that's a good thing. Because, like I said, they experienced some extremely good times, and moving forward, they want to share what they experienced with others.
Absolutely. I'm going to turn you over to Mr. Harris. I got to step away for a minute, but I will be right back. But Phil will take good care of you. So go ahead, Phil.
Well, Coach, again, I appreciate you coming on. The first time I was ever familiar with you, Coach, you played basketball at Sandrock, and you finished in '82. I can remember I first moved to Alabama, and I finished my sophomore year. Well, we went to a basketball game, and it was at Sandrock. And in the trophy case was a picture of you and a trophy when you had played at Sandrock and you had finished in '82 and then went on to the college level. And, people were talking about it then, about how good you were as a basketball player. And in high school, you really excelled. I know you went on, I think you went to Shelton State, and Montevallo. But you still have some rebounding records in the state from the time you played in '82 or '81, actually, 81, '82.
Hey, I tell you what, I still think I can play. I'm 61 years old, and I still get out here and do these workouts with these young ladies. And sometimes we get out there, and we have a scout team, which is comprised of young high school players that are in college now. They're males, and they run our scout team, which is a really good deal. They get we coach them up, and they get out there and they prepare young women for their games. And our young women compete. This year, we're guarding 6 threes with 5 10s. Okay, you can imagine that was tough. Moving forward, we're going to be better. We're going to be able to match up better. But never, we lost a couple of games by 2, by 4 points, whatever. But the thing about it is, basketball's not really changed in terms of maybe the way that's played. Seth Curry, some of those people, they sort of help spread the court, with their ability to shoot the basketball, which has been good. A lot more movement. But back in the day when I played, there's no shot clock. The shot clock, the shot clock was in college, but it wasn't in high schools. It was like it may be coming in Alabama here in a couple of years, but there's no 3-point line. So everybody tried to pound it inside and get the best shot they could get. So, sometimes it was a lot more physical, and then the 3-point line sort of helped spread things out, make it a little bit more rewarding if you can make the outside shot. But in high school, my senior year, I averaged 28 points and 21 rebounds a game. 28 points and 21 rebounds a game. But I just always try to give my best, whatever it took to help our team get in the situation where we could be successful. We ended up going to the state tournament. The state champion, Holy Family, beat us in Tuscaloosa. But that was a great run that we had. Some of those rebound records, 31 rebounds in one game. I think that's number 3 right now statewide. Didn't even realize how many I was getting. I just told my team, I said, look, if I run into you going after a rebound on the defensive end, I'm going to apologize now. But I'm going after every defensive rebound. Okay, so if I bump into you on the way to it, I'm going to, let you know right now. I'm going to let you know that it's, I'm going to be coming. So if you get it, you better get to it quick. So that night, I remember the first round of the area tournament, We had 7 teams. If you lose, you're out. There's no runner up. You got to win the area to get in. So we did. We beat Cedar Bluff, we beat Gadsden, we beat Council, and then we beat Woodville, and then we made it to the final, to the tournament in Tuscaloosa. But there's no, it's a 1-game season. You either win or you go home. But 21 rebounds a game, that was a lot. But I didn't even think about it because I was a quarterback on a football team, played baseball, ran track, whatever they needed me to do. I mean, I had some nights after a football game, if they wanted me to drive the bus home after the football game, I would drive the bus back home. That's after playing quarterback and free safety during the football game. So back then, you just had to have a driver's license. You didn't have to have a CDL. So whatever it took for me to help my team, I was willing to do that. And my kids were the same way. Riley played 136 games at Alabama, Riley Norris. That's the most games ever. And with the NIL and the transfer portal the way it is, that's one record that may not ever be broken. So, and historically, Alabama's been good. Outside the University of Kentucky, the University of Alabama's got the second most wins in SEC history. So they've been good in basketball for a long time. We're seeing them now at the, with a chance to get back during the Sweet 16, with a chance to make another run, hopefully get to the Final Four. Riley wanted to go to Alabama because he wanted to be a part of that team that hung that first Final Four banner in Coleman. That's why he wanted to go to Alabama, and the fact that he was an Alabama fan. Jordan then graduated from Alabama. Drew and Riley both. They graduated with their master's degree from Alabama as well. But, we're fortunate. The kids that work hard, they play hard. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, back in the day when Riley was, I think at one time, didn't Riley go to Sandrock at one time, and then he ended up at Albertville? But do you think that's what got him to that bigger level, playing that better competition? Because Albertville played some big time basketball teams in his days.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, I tell you what, that's a good point. The thing about it is, I see that on the recruiting trail right now. I see a lot of times that people come up to me and tell me that, you can't recruit the small schools, the 1As and 2As. But let me tell you, don't tell Ace Austin that. Don't tell Ricky Austin. Don't tell Jamie Pruitt that. Don't tell McKinley Traylor that. Don't tell those people that, because you tell them that, they just work harder. If you told Riley Norris that, he would work harder. Riley Norris was going to play Division I basketball. It didn't matter what school he was at. It didn't matter what his size was. He was going to play because he was going to put the work in required for him to get to that level. When he was 3 years old and was walking out of Coleman Coliseum after a game one night, he turned back around and looked back, and I said, "Hey, Riley, what you looking at?" He goes, "Dad, I'm going to play here one day. I'm going to play here for the University of Alabama one day." As a 3-year-old. How about that? I remember it like it was yesterday. So, yeah, you put the work in with proper training. Of course, now you need to get some exposure. You get out on the AAU trail and you play for some good coaches and you play in some good tournaments, and they get to stack up the apples versus apples. Riley was a top 50 kid coming out of high school. He went to the Kevin Durant Skills Academy, which invites only the top 20 wings in America. The top 20 in America. He was one of those. At the time, Kevin Durant was his favorite player. In fact, he was my daughter Jordan's favorite player. So guess what? That was a special weekend for our family. We enjoyed that. He got invited to the LeBron James Skills Academy. Riley was invited to the top 100 players in America, and he was playing against all the top players in the country in front of the NBA scouts. So you've got to put the work in to get to that level, and then when you get there, you got to show them that you can compete, because there's only 2 things can happen. You can gain exposure or you can get exposed. One of the 2. So, but Riley put the work in, and as I said, he was MVP at Jacksonville as an 8th grader, because we went to the region 3 straight times. And Riley went as a 7th grader, 8th grader, and then we moved to Albertville his 9th grade year. But he was MVP at Jacksonville his 8th grade year, and he made All-State 5 years. He was up for Player of the Year, in the state of Alabama in each classification, as he moved forward too. So, but he was willing to put in the work when others weren't. He didn't want to be outworked by anybody. So in the end, that really benefited him by rewarding him with the opportunity to go pretty much where he wanted to. But he was always an Alabama fan, and he selected Alabama. And hey, his mama's a big Alabama fan. Our whole family's Alabama fans. So that was we didn't have to change any of the wardrobe. We didn't have to change any of the pictures when they came for an in-house visit. I didn't have to move any of magazines off the coffee table. We had all their stuff up. Now, when those schools came in, our walls look barren. They said, "Are you guys, are y'all fixing to repaint your walls because you have nothing on the walls here?" And I said, "Nah, we're thinking about it." But and then we left, we'd have to put the stuff back up. But anyway, a lot of good people, a lot of good relationships. I'm still in touch with them. I still know a lot. The thing about it is the network is important. So we had a young lady, like I said, that just wanted to play division, play at a major university. I just picked up the phone, called a coach, and just told her that, hey, how about offering this young lady? She's good enough that she can get her shot off, and score points when you might need points to be scored. She's good enough to get you a few rebounds down the stretch when you might need to get a rebound. I said, she's good enough to maybe help you win 3 or 4 more games next year. How about that? Would that be nice? And she goes, hey, coach, give me your phone number. Give me your phone number. Let me call her. And she called her right after that and offered her a scholarship and that was her dream. That was that young lady's dream, to play at that level. And so, that's special moments. We walk up to a young lady and tell her that, hey, I'm going to be watching you play as you continue to develop. And she goes, are you recruiting me now? And I said, yes, ma'am, I am. And then they start crying right in front of you. Is that not special?
That's a
special moment.
That's what this is about, Coach, is these kids. I mean, not only do you want them to excel on the court, but you want them to excel off the court. I mean, you want them to lead Gadsden State as great people.
Yes, sir. That's our goal. Become a great citizen, become a great parent. Become a great, to give back more to your community. Because like I said, evidently you've been blessed at some point to get to this level. Hey, just be the best that you can be. That's all we can do. Your best is. We're trying to get our young ladies to know that your best is required every day. Your best is expected every day, both as a student, both as an athlete, and as a person. And if you leave here a better person, better educated, with a degree, and you can, maybe move on and continue to play at a 4-year school. That's even a bonus. Move on to a 4-year school and get your education played for at that level, and walk out there with that undergraduate degree or that master's degree. But it's just the ball is in their court. These people, they don't realize, these young players don't realize, what kind of position they're in maybe until they say, gosh, I could have played harder. I could have done better. There should be no regret. Just do your best each day and let's build on that, and good things will happen.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you about this. When you bring young ladies in, and of course, I'm sure you probably did this with your team. Coach, you were shorthanded in time, being that you were the head coach, assistant coach, you were the jack of all trades this year. But when you bring these young ladies, do you sit down with them individually to find out their personal goals as far as grade goes, what their long-term goals are? Do you sit down with these young ladies and evaluate each one?
Okay, are you talking about as far as recruiting, or are you talking about once they're on campus?
When you're recruiting, when you bring them, even the players you have, you sit down with them to find out what their long-term goals are, but especially the ones you're recruiting, sit down with them and kind of do an evaluation to make sure this is the best fit for them.
Yes, sir. Like I said, 3 things real quick. There's a lot of things recruiting, but number one, you're looking for talent. Okay, you want to bring in talented players. Like I said, if you're ever going to play with the Sheltons and the Wallace States and the other Division I schools, you got to be able to bring in players that will compete at that level. Okay, the next thing would be fit. Is it a good fit for us? Is it a good fit for the young ladies? And if it is, then we'll continue to go to number 3. And number 3 would be character. That's something that you really need. You want to enjoy going to the gym every day to work with your team. Your teammates, they want to go to the gym every day to be a part of practice. And the thing about it is when they get there, they realize that everything we do has a purpose and that we do it for a reason. And we're not in there just to waste time. We're in there to get better. And then, like I said, we've got, we know what it takes to win at this level. Not only did I play in college, but I also coached 3 years at the University of Montevallo. We had a top 10 team nationally when I was there. We were really good in Division II. We beat some Division I schools that would play us. And then I had a chance to get back, and my mom said, hey, we never see you. I was in the National Guard. I was, coaching. She goes, we never see you, so you need to come back home. So then in 1990, I took a job at Sand Rock High School, and I came back home, coached there for 20 years. When I die, I'll be buried there at the cemetery across from the Baptist church. So, but I can see the house that I built in 1996 from where I'm buried. So, that's still home to me. But and then we moved to Aberville. You mentioned this earlier. Let me help you back out by getting back to your question earlier. When Riley went to Aberville, he got to play against better competition every day in the gym, and then the schedule, of course, was a little bit better. But he didn't play football his first year out there. So on August 11th, when school started, we had PE started at 1:30. So we had a block of instruction from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. Riley started basketball on August 11th. If he'd been in high school, say if he'd been at San Rock, he'd been the backup quarterback to his brother, been playing receiver. He had been the punter on the varsity, and he wouldn't got to play basketball until after football ended. So, to answer your question, Riley got, we had 13 young men that was playing varsity basketball at Aberville then. We had a couple that played varsity football that joined us after that. But when basketball season started, Aberville basketball was ready. And then the other guys joined us after football. But so going to a bigger school can be better because competition to practice should be better. The competition to compete at should be better. But if a person is in a small school, how about, there's a lot of them. Riley played with a young guy that was 6'11", and he went to a small school, and he was really good. He went to a two-way school and ended up, played at Laverne High School, and then he ended up playing in Alabama, and then he's still playing right now at the professional ranks. But, so you can be a small school athlete, and look at Ace Austin, missed basketball. Not once, but twice. Yeah. She comes from a 1A school. They were 2A, but they dropped out 1A. You can do that. But again, you've got to have good tutelage, good coaching, and then you've got to have the desire to be better than the ones you compete against. You got to get to that next level. But
Coach,
we're good.
Ace could be a made-for-TV movie because not only is it a small school, it's out in the middle of nowhere. What is it? Is it probably the only town in Alabama that doesn't have a Dollar General?
I guess you're probably right. I'll tell you what, hey, you talk about cell service, and this is something not to knock Spring Garden, but if I'm in Spring Garden, one time I can make a call, I got to go stand in the four-way stop right there in front of the school. But I'm telling you, and I'm suffering with cell service here tonight, but, I know that, that's, they got a special thing going on there. Coach Ricky Austin and that program has been, and not only him, but Coach Welch and Coach David Bedwell. They've had several coaches that came there and won state championships for the women. And, but Coach Austin just took it to another level, hadn't he? To another level, But so it's a special time, and especially when you're coaching your son. I really love coaching other kids. Soccer, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. Good Lord's bless us, we've been very successful in winning championships in all different sports. But I tell you what, there's nothing like coaching your own children. Some people don't like doing it. They don't want no part of it. But that was the best time of my life. And I can't wait. I look forward to the opportunity to coach my grandkids because hopefully they can be special themselves. So hopefully we'll be able to.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, Coach, I want to ask you this: as far as recruiting goes, I know you have the young ladies you have there now. Are you going to try to recruit more local players? Because there's a lot of good basketball talent around here, and you've talked about small schools where there's some big time players, especially in girls basketball in small schools, and two of them are plays for Jamie Pruitt, and you've talked about McKinley, and also you've got Kenzie Smith. And also with Ryan Clark, the softball coach, y'all are trying to say a McKinley is a two-sport athlete. Are you okay with coaching a two-sport player at the college level now?
Okay, hey, that's a good question. The thing about it is, and that's interesting. So I was helping Coach Clark with the softball tournament this weekend. His ladies were playing in Shelton on Thursday. So I told him, I said, look, I'll bring some people down there and we'll work the gate for you and we'll help you out this weekend, whatever you need. Because I knew also, too, that McKinley was going to be there and Campbell Barron from Pisgah was going to be there. Yeah. And other young ladies that we were, they play multiple sports. But when those athletes, if they do go from 2 to 1 or from 3 to 1, just imagine how much better they can be in that one sport. When I was in college before, it didn't change. we're recruiting 3 sport athletes because we realized that when they just focus on one, they're going to be better. They're going to be much better. Their ceiling goes way up. But yeah, so yeah, you're recruiting the individual, you're recruiting the person that came from that program because, you know, you want those people that you prefer those people that come from winning programs, right? They know what that culture is. They know what it needs to be. They know what it looks like. That's important. So yeah, you take a young lady from a small school, but they've been coached well. They're used to winning. They're team first. It's we before me, which is important. We before me, and then they end up doing well, and they end up helping you do well, your team do well. But yeah, if Coach Clark, not only, and I don't really want to get into names because, like I said, not until we get them on campus. Let's get them on campus. But we got a young lady right now we're filling out the paperwork that she's going to be a really good softball player for Coach Clark. But she wants to come here and play basketball first and foremost. But she's going to play softball here next year as well, and she could be an everyday player for him as well too. So that's something looking forward to. And I'm always willing to help out the other coaches here on campus. If I can help you, I'm there for you. But then again, you got to be a special athlete to play 2 sports in college. I know I went to play baseball and basketball both in college. Boy, your time is really in demand when you do that because you talk about year round. And some days you're doing both. And then when you get into the end of the day, you turn around and start back over the next day and you do it again. So, you got to be really, time management's got to be really good. You got to be focused on your studies and stay ahead of them. So, but playing one sport's tough in college, but you can imagine what it'd be like to play 2.
Yeah, definitely. So I imagine it is tough. Well, a lot of your roster now, are there a lot of local players on the roster?
Well, I'll tell you what, coming in, we had a few this past year. Coach Dixon, you had Coach Phillips before him. He turned it over to Coach Dixon. Then Coach Dixon, he brought in players last year. We have 6 players from Birmingham. We have a few players that are from the northern part of the state up here where we live. But we have a young lady from Sand Rock this year. We have one from Collinsville. We have one from 5. Then, like I said, the 6 that were from Birmingham. We have one from Pell City. So, yeah, we had some that were, an hour and 15 minutes away or less. But, yeah, you've got to be able to get outside of, you got to go after what you need. We've got, we need to bring in some inside players. So we've got to get out there, and you may not be able to find a 6'3" that's in a 45-mile radius of you. You may have to go to Atlanta, or you may have to get out, go to Tennessee. But we love to recruit local first and foremost because that helps your crowd, that helps your support, that builds interest here, and that's what we need to build that. We need to build that. And like you said, there's good basketball in North Alabama, and we're blessed in Northeast Alabama to have some really good coaching and good players, and that makes things better. Just look at the number of state championships that have been won in the past by the teams in Northeast Alabama or North Alabama in general. That's good stuff. And like I said, we want those people that come from those winning programs because, that's going to help us moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. So, and two, any time that you can bring in some of the local players, which means you're going to bring families. And if they don't have traveled far to Gadsden, to see them play or Shelton State or over at Calhoun or somewhere like that, the families don't have to travel quite as far, and you're going to see a whole lot more family members and even former teammates show up to see them play.
Oh, yeah. It's not like playing in front of a full, a packed gym. There at Sand Rock, we had a capacity of 800 people. At that time, that was the oldest facility in the state of Alabama they played games in. You got a policeman standing at the door saying, nobody can come in until somebody leaves. This place is packed. When it was at Aberville, hey, there's 2,000 fans there every night. And their games were on TV and on the radio. But there's still 2,000 fans there to watch them play. How about that? That's that community sport. That's what you strive for. Put a product out there that people have got to see in person. They can sit at home and watch them play on TV, or they can listen to the radio. And it's 25 degrees outside in the freezing rain, and they're going to park up by the Fine Arts Building and walk down to the gym. to get into a gym that's packed, but they do it because they want to be there in person.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need that, but you got to put a product on the court where people, they want to see, they're willing to travel, they're willing to, they want to see those young ladies play and perform at a really high level. But I'm like you, hey, if they're a good homegrown talent, right here in our doorsteps, we'd be, that would be a good thing for me to not recruit it. In fact, I would be hurt if somebody came in and got that out, stood that right out from under me, But
Yeah.
we got to do a good job in bringing in what we feel like young women that, like I said, that want to play together and that will be great teammates with one another. And then hopefully are willing to put the work in to perform well on the court.
Well, piggybacking off of what you're talking about, that's like in the Jacksonville, down at Jacksonville in the region final between Spring Garden and Ider, 2 1A schools, and the Pete Matthews Coliseum was low to the ceiling. That's amazing to see 2 1A girls teams be that popular, and both teams were that good because it was the 2 best teams in the state by far.
Oh, gosh, you're right. Hey, I was there. I was right there on the court.
Yeah.
I saw it. I witnessed that, and I thought, oh, my goodness, look at this. There's not a seat. I mean, there's people standing at every entrance. They can't. They're just trying to get in there and just get a peek of what they're going to be able to see. And those are memories that'll last forever for those women to be a part of that game. And then, of course, it was 2, like you said, very good teams that were playing for a state championship on that particular day. The winner had a good chance to continue and win 2 more games and be your state champion. And that's what happened. So they knew what was at stake. And a lot of people there got to witness that. How about that? You were there and you got to see Pete Matthews, filled above capacity to watch 2 1A girls teams play for the region championship. So yeah, that's a special day. Every community, everybody was gone. There's nobody in Ider, there's nobody in Spring Garden that day because it's all in Jackson.
Yeah, that's definitely the truth. Well, Coach, I want to ask something. When you are recruiting a player, especially when you go down and sit down with their parents, are you more interested? I mean, sometimes kids will, kind of let their parents do their talking for them. Are you more interested in a player that will speak for themselves?
I'm definitely interested. I mean, the thing about it is, that's the reason I like to talk to them on the phone and try to get to know them. Talk to them after a game. When they walk out and they just lost a tough game, I want to be there for them, and I want to let them know that they just lost a state championship game. But, there's probably 61 other teams that would love to be in their position. There's always something good you can bring up to make them say, you know what, that's right. There's a lot of other people that love to have gotten that red trophy today. That doesn't take any of the sting away because you're going after the state championship. But there's times that they need you to be there to help. And, that's when I want to be there. I want to be there to watch them, when they lose to a rival game in the finals of the county tournament. I want to be there to help pick them back up. It's easy to console or to talk to the ones that win, but it takes some skill and some genuine concern to help those that were on the losing end. The ones that came out, because they're all competitors, and they gave it their best, and they just came up a little bit short. But it's good to be there for those that will take that and they'll build on it. And, they'll get better because of it. And that's something that we all need to do is adversity is good. This is a good statement right here. Adversity, it visits the strong, but it lives with the weak. Okay? So adversity will live with the weak, but it visits the strong. So, even the strong sometimes have to deal with it. And what you do when you encounter it is what's important.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you one more question. I'll kind of turn you over to Howie. I'm sure he wants. I'm a high school basketball player. You are recruiting me. What is it that you have to offer me, and why do I want to come to Gadsden State?
Well, I'll tell you what, the biggest thing is, if you come on campus first, we're not going to offer you a scholarship unless you come. If you come on campus, that tells me you're interested. And then we'll show you what we have to offer. Okay? We're not going to give you an offer because we don't want you to go on Instagram or social media and or Facebook and start posting those offers you got. Some may be good, some may not be good. But when you come on campus, we sit down with you and we give you an offer to come to our school, then we're committing ourselves to you. And then once you commit yourself to us, then that's when we can move forward. But we want to make sure that you're a good fit with what we need and that we're a good fit for what you need. And if we check off all these boxes, like I said, you have the talent, you have the skill set that we need, and then again, you have the character that we need, that we are going to demand or expect, and then we can move forward. But it's got to be a good fit for both of us. I want you to be happy, like I said, because if you're not happy, you're not going to be a good student, and you're not going to be the athlete that you can be. But if you come here with the right work ethic and you really get better, we're going to help you become a better player, better person, and you're going to get that degree and become a better student as a result. So you're going to punch that ticket to being successful in whatever you choose to do for the next 40 years. After you get through your college career, for the next 40 years is what's important moving forward. But yeah, like I said, getting to know you and finding out what your interests are and how we can help you get to that. And it may work out for us, it may not work out. You may go down the road and play against us. And we're going to wish you the best, and we're going to compete the best we can against you. Hopefully, everything will work out to benefit both our program and you as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, Coach, I want to ask you this one question, and then I'll turn you over to Howie. You're old school. You've been around a long time, just like I have. I graduated in 85. You graduated in 82. Who was your favorite basketball player as you were growing up?
I've had so many. The thing about it is not only just basketball, just athletes in general. But, the thing about it is you talk about, you look for somebody that sets a good example as a role model, not somebody that's going to be treating people and doing things that are not respectful. You have to be respectful for your competition first and foremost. And I was fortunate to always be a team captain and be a leader. I always wanted to set the right example, for everybody involved. I love going to these signings. When I get to go watch somebody sign, I may not be able to get my picture made, but I'll be there because those third and fourth graders that are looking there up at them, wanting to be that person when they grow up, that's what it's all about, being that good role model. So when you ask me who my favorite players were, just think of the ones that you can reflect back on they set the good example. They said the right things. They did the right things. They weren't getting arrested. They weren't doing things they should be doing. Those are the ones I look up to the most. Now, I love those that won, and that won at a very high level, and that competed at a very high level for a very long time, because that showed that they were, willing to do whatever they needed to do that. But like I said, those that handle themselves in a professional manner, those are the ones I cheer for the most.
I'm going to throw a name out there, Coach. And as far as your favorite player, some reason when Phil asked you that, the first name that popped in my mind was Bill Russell.
Well, you tell what, 11 championship rings, you can't go wrong with that. But not only that, but, hey, as far as what Michael Jordan did on the court, he played 16 NBA championships, won 16 NBA titles, and, you have players like that. You had, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. That era was the one that I grew up in and watching, competed with. Charles Barkley was a year older than me. I knew Charles from his basketball playing days. I played the state high school all-star game with Bob Lee Hurd, Ennis Wadley, Bud Johnson, those kind of guys. So basketball was really good in that time in the state of Alabama. Birmingham was a recruiting hub for players throughout the country. Coach would come to Birmingham because there's just great talent in Birmingham and around Birmingham. But so, yeah, there's a lot of good basketball players that played. Like I said, when I was in the 90s, 80s and 90s, oh, yeah. There were so many people that were just, that you just said, oh, my goodness, they'd be better than this. And then now look today at all the, stars that we still have both on the women's level and the men's level. Look how much the women have came forward. The players, the way they play the game, it's just they're bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, more skilled. It's amazing where the game of basketball has transcended, not only in the United States, but worldwide. Look at the competition we have on the national level, But anyway, it makes us better. Competition makes you better. Look at the SEC. 14 teams in the tournament on the men's side. They got 7 teams in the Sweet 16. The women are probably going to win another national championship this year as well. So, we're blessed to be a part of this, to be able to – that's the reason I enjoy living in Tuscaloosa. I got to see all that firsthand. Those teams that got off the bus, they don't like a college team. They're like an NBA team. An NBA team. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And Coach, I don't know if you watch our show very often or not, but you can ask Coach Clark this. I don't take a whole lot of notes during shows. I just kind of go by the feel of the interview. And I actually took notes today because there's a few questions I do want to ask you about that. And if I can read my writing here, let me ask you one of them. And you've been around. You've. What do you think the over and under is about 2,000 games you saw in your lifetime?
2000?
You think so?
No, I've coached over 2,000. I've been a
Oh,
head
have
coach.
you?
Yeah, well, I've coached over 2,000. Yeah, that number is way low. I've seen a lot more than that, but I've coached more than 2,000 games. Not really going by records, but I've been a part as the head coach of 1,130 wins. 1,130 wins as a head coach, and then I've been an assistant coach. I helped Coach Harding at Aberville for 5 years. We averaged about 25 wins a year, so that's about another 125 games, 20 to 25 wins. At Mall Valley, we averaged over 20 wins a year. Coached there 3 years. And then, so as an assistant coach, I've been a part of well over 200 wins. So it's, that number, as far as and that's just basketball for the most part. So, that 2,000 is a little low for the games that I've been able to watch, firsthand, but in person. Been a part of. But like I said, I'm hoping the good Lord to keep me around so that I can be a part of a lot more.
Over the years, and it's leading me to this question here. Over the years, what's the biggest change that has happened on a basketball court from when you started even when you started playing back in Pee Wees back in the 80s, 70s, 80s up until now? What's the biggest change?
Hey, there's a lot of them. The balls got better. Okay. They were slick as leather. You guys know what I'm talking about. That leather was so slick you couldn't hold on to it. And then we'd put polish on it and polish those balls up so they last longer. But it was slick. So the composite feels better. The girls went from a boys ball to a girls ball. Helped their game out a lot. The gyms, the court, the 3-point line in '86, that changed the game up in college. They brought the 3-point line in for the high school teams and the college teams. That really that was in '86. That changed the game. Shot clocks. That you have to play at a different pace. You have to be able to get into something earlier on offense. The defense, you don't have to really defend for as long. That's changed the game. The skill, the ability to shoot the ball. That's made it wider. You spread the court out. You got to defend the whole court now instead of just trying to pound it inside and getting the closer shot, the easier shot, or the closer one to the basket. So the game has evolved, and they're scoring. They're getting up and down. The fans like that. They enjoy watching teams score baskets. I was playing in a tournament one time in Mexico, and I was playing for a team from America, and the fans, they would cheer no matter who scored. No, it didn't matter. We was in Mexico City, was in Monterrey playing 2 different tournaments. It didn't matter if their team from the University of Chihuahua, which was their national champion, was playing against. If they scored, they cheered. If we scored, they cheered. They didn't care who they were cheering for. They just want to see the ball go in the basket. So, but the game has came a long way. And, and so, like I said, it continues to evolve. But, it's been good. And it's only going to get better with the good coaching and the players getting bigger, stronger, and faster. And with the NIL, they're actually getting paid money. They're coming out saying, well, how much can you pay me? And, and they can go from one school to the other, the transfer portal. That's opened up a lot on the college level. Anyway, I don't know. I enjoy more being the purity of the game. The thing, kids playing because they love playing basketball. It's not how much money you pay me or what can you give me or it's not that. It's thank you for this opportunity. And I'm just going to make the most out of it. Those are the kind of kids that really make this special. Not that all of them don't, but those that come in there with the purity of their heart and they're genuinely thankful for the opportunity that's been bestowed upon them.
You've coached both boys and girls, and I'm surprised Phil didn't ask you this, but what's the biggest difference between coaching boys and girls?
Well, pretty much, if you get the people that are willing to work hard, I've had young ladies that play just as hard for me as the guys. They just give everything they've got. Of course, and so, basketball is basketball, X's and O's, and there are certain things. I mean, it's hard for us to come down and set in our transition break and set a back pick and throw a lob to our 6'10", wing when we're coaching the women. We may not have that on the men, but I remember that's exactly what Dean Smith said when I was at a coaching clinic, and that was his transition break. And I'm thinking, hey, coach, I don't have a 6'10". In fact, I never had a 6'10". So we can't really run that. That cannot be an option in our secondary offense. But there are things you can do. I still sit that same bat pick and hit that backdoor cut from our ladies. We can, we can spread the floor out and they can shoot threes and they can make threes just like the men can. And some may make it even at a higher clip. They can, skill wise, they can, they may not be able to jump as high in most cases. They may not be able to run as fast, but they're athletic, and they can continue to improve on their skills, and they can become very proficient at what they do. And people they just want to see good basketball. They want to see good players, whether it's male or female. And they just got to get in the gym and work hard on getting stronger, getting faster, becoming more athletic, so they can defend better and they can play more. Because you can score, that's good. But who can you defend? That's going to be sometimes that's a question. Guys, I'm about out of power. I'm fixing to lose my power. But if there's anything else you need from me, I'm willing to do what I can to help you guys out. I appreciate your time. Thank you for what you do, because recognizing local talent, letting the people know in North Alabama what we have to offer is something that's special. And we appreciate everything that you guys do.
Coach, I want to ask you one thing. What style of play ideal is Gadsden City going to be? What, offensively and defensively, what is your style going to be?
Well, you think in college that you can sort of recruit to your style. That makes it a little bit different sometimes than what high school would be like. We would like to be an aggressive defense that can sort of take offenses out of what they like to do. We like to put pressure on the ball so we can, contest shots without fouling, play good defense. And then we got to be able to defend and rebound. So you got to be tough-minded individuals that's not giving up easy baskets. And on the offensive end, you need to be multi-skilled so that you can, teams that want to pressure you, you got to be able to punish pressure. You got to be able to, if they run two at you, you got to be able to fake a pass and make a pass and punish help. You got to be able to knock down open shots. So, yeah, we like to be able to have kids or young ladies that can make open shots from the outside, and then have those that can, when they're pressured, can put it on the floor and score it. The analytics now sometimes shift to where teams want to shoot more threes and layups and free throws. And, for people, and they are there. But at our level, they're still the mid-range game. You can still pull up and shoot a 15-footer. And most of the time, that might be the best shot that you can get, because they may be on the three-point line. They chase you off. So you need three-level scorers. You need those that can finish at the rim, those that can make a pull-up or a floater, and those that can score from outside. As far as post players, they got to be multitask. They got to be able to play over both shoulders. They got to be able to, you don't see very much back-to-the-back players now, because most players want to step out on the perimeter so they can screen, they can roll, they can pop and make threes. So, right now you need skilled players. And you need people on defense that are willing to lock in and defend, and then you don't end the position until you get that rebound. You got to get a miss, get the defensive rebound, and then take it down there and score. And then when you get consecutive stops, then you can build a little run, and then maybe you can, come out on the winning side. But you got to be able to compete on both ends. Like I said, as far as I would love to be able to have teams that would be able to press full court, but with a shot clock, if we can get them to use about 6 or 8 seconds before they cross half court, then we don't have to play defense but 22, 23 seconds. And that's something that's, a little different. And you may see that in high school in a couple of years if they ever mandate that in Alabama, so it's okay to, pressure a little bit or slow them down a little bit, just control the pace a little bit. But it would be nice to have a package in there of athletes that can run and trap and press and maybe correct turnovers, and then you can create offense. Those are easier baskets. These 5-on-5 fist fights or rock fights that you see, sometimes they're tough, tough to score on. And but sometimes you get in those when you get two teams that are good, and they know your stuff, you know their stuff, and you just gotta hope that your players can make more plays than theirs.
Coach, can we get a quick verbal commitment for you to come back one time when we got a little bit more time and maybe you got more or more battery life on your phone?
Hey, listen, guys, if there's anything I can do to help you out, just give me a call. And Mr. Phil Harris, let me tell you, I enjoy WQSB scoreboard. Okay. Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't know how many nights that I tune into that. It don't matter where I'm at. I always look you guys up, and I got to know what those scores were.
Yeah.
And you guys do a great job. Always have, and look forward to it moving forward.
Yeah, and we sure do appreciate you, Coach, and we wish you the best. I know you're of high character. I've followed you for years. Not up to all the time, but I've kind of followed where you've been. I saw your son play at Alabama and all that stuff, and so I have followed you for a long time because I've always thought you've been a great man of character. So, we appreciate you listening to the scoreboard show, and we sure do appreciate you coming on here.
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, if you see any good female basketball players, anytime you run across, you pass on Coach Eddy Norris and Gadsden State. Okay. You put a good plug for me and tell me that, hey, this guy right here, you need to check with him before you decide anything. Okay. Because he may have something special for you in store at Gadsden State, and you need to check it out. And it's going to be worth your while. But again, moving forward, thank you, gentlemen, for your time, and look forward to speaking with you again.
All right.
Thank you, Coach Norris.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Yes, sir.
So, Phil, what a great coach and what a great person. Talking about him, and that we knew before going into this, and he just kind of put the final nail in the coffin. I guess you can say. First and foremost, he's a family man.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, if I was a parent, I wouldn't have nothing wrong with it playing with my child, playing for him, because he's such a high man of character, and he always has been. As far as I've ever known him, I kind of got to know who he was in 1982 just by looking at the glove. But people talked about what a great person he was because he played football, he ran track, and he played baseball. He did everything. And then, of course, his children coming up. But, I think Jordan, his daughter, played at Jacksonville State. So, he's always been a man of character, and, it's great to have him home. Maybe we'll have him back on. And I'm sure, and, he seems like just as excited about coaching basketball today as he has for the last 20 years. So I don't think he's going to quit anytime soon.
Absolutely. And it's been 25 years ago. There was a fundraiser in Fort Payne, and me and a group of guys got together and we entered in a basketball tournament, and he had his group of guys with him. And even though it was for charity and you wanted to play hard, nobody played any harder than Coach Norris. I mean, he was first one up and down the floor. And at that time, he wasn't old. He was in his 40s, but he was the first one up and down the floor and posting up. And he was begging those guys to get him the ball, and they wouldn't do it. And he finally told them, and they called timeout, and he's like, guys, get me the ball. And when they come and I score 2 or 3 times in a row, I can get it to you and you'll have an open 3. So let's do it this way. And sure enough, even though we knew what was happening, they still done it, and it worked out for them. And, and I think they ended up winning the charity tournament because of that. And, but he's going to have Gadsden State moving in the right direction. He already has. And, something I kind of wanted to ask but didn't have time was his recruiting trail, as far as how many hours a week is he out and about recruiting and everything. But unfortunately, we got a late start. He had a new laptop he had never used for Zoom calls or anything, and something in there is not set exactly right. So that's why he had to switch over to his phone. But you want to play for a coach like that, because most coaches would have said, well, it's not working, let's do it a different time. By golly, he hung around for about 20 minutes trying to get it where it would work.
Well, he was excited about coming on. When I talked to him, he was looking forward to it and excited. He just needed to find a time. He just couldn't do it during basketball. But and I'm sure he'll come back on at any time. He's a man of great character, and like I said, I think he's going to do well at Gadsden State, mainly because he's such a good leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And he mentioned some of the players that we've had on here in the past. So apparently we're doing something right by getting some of the players that he's wanting at Gadsden. Or I ain't gonna say he's wanting it because I don't want to misspeak. He mentioned some players I would say that's definitely on his radar.
Oh yeah, definitely so. Two he's offered I know of, and as a matter of fact, one of them's mother, and I'd say one of them's mother, and the other one's dad's for sure listening to us. So, or we're listening. And they're both from Hatris, so they're very interested in what Riley Norris has to say. And I think what will help him too. And I wanted to ask him about this as he gets into coaching and gets to know more coaches at the 4-year level. It will be better options for his girls to get to 4-year schools, because if he starts being successful on the court, they're going to be chasing him down instead of him trying to find other places for them to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great for him and Gadsden State as well to be working together. And if y'all go back and watch when he said that he volunteered to help at the softball tournament this past weekend, well, we've discussed it many times, either on here or behind the scenes and text and all this stuff. There's a lot of great two-sport athletes in the Northeast area that we cover a lot. That he wanted to make sure that when those kids came to watch the softball, they saw his face there too, to let them know that, hey, it's wide open here. You got a shot at not just one sport but two sports.
Yeah. Well, the good thing, that the big advantage Coach Norris has is when you see him out in a crowd, he's a head above everybody else. So you automatically notice him. I saw him at the county basketball tournament, and I approached him and spoke with him briefly, but we didn't talk about anything. I said, well, I'm gonna see if I can reach out to him later. And so, yeah, he sticks out because he's a head above everybody else.
Absolutely. And one of the things I was wanting to talk about, and he kind of discussed it, so I didn't really bring it up when it came back to me, but he took a line away from me because I did some research on him. I knew he'd been around in Sand Rock forever. And when he said that, yeah, he played this sport, he played that sport, and if they wanted him to, he would drive the bus home afterwards. That was what I was going to ask him. Was there anything that he did or was there anything that he didn't do, rather, that at games or after games? Because he was kind of humble about himself, but he made, of course, he won all the accolades in basketball, but he also won area awards in football and track. And there was one more sport that they had at the time I didn't even know Sand Rock had, but he had won on it. And I was going to ask him, was there anything else that he didn't do, or maybe at halftime was he busy selling popcorn or something? Because he did everything at Sand Rock.
Yeah. So I know in 1981, which was his senior year, and he played quarterback, they were very good. I knew that because they had a lot of seniors on that team, because the next year we beat them 31-0, but they hammered Valleyhead in 1981, and he was the quarterback on that team. So, yeah, he done a lot of things for Sand Rock. Of course, I talked to Coach Jake away, and he said, Coach Norris has kind of moved away, so he hadn't communicated with him much in several years. But he's worked his way back to this area, and people like him that have been successful in life, it's beneficial to the area too, because you look out there. Well, he went to school at Sand Rock. He's a local boy now. He's coaching at Gadsden State. And that's great for our area because he wants to see this area flourish too.
Yeah, absolutely. And he flat out said this is home to him. Sand Rock is home to him. He knows where his final resting place is going to be at. But it's great. Good. It's a great show tonight, Phil, and not only tonight, but we got another one coming up tomorrow. We got Coach Rob Hanna from Ider, my mind went blank. Golf coach at Ider.
Yeah.
He's going to be joining us. I mean, it's a sport I've played since I was young, and it's been a busy weekend. But anyway, we're going to have the golf coach from Ider High School tomorrow night. Rob Hanna is going to be joining us, and that is something that has picked up a lot lately in the Northeast area and all across North Alabama is golf teams at smaller schools that used to be just big schools, but now you see them at nearly every school because it's becoming a more and more popular sport.
Oh, definitely. So it's an avenue to get to college, especially at Northeast, and of course, I'm going to reach out to Northeast and see if we can't get, I lost his name, but the golf coach out at Northeast, of course, Coach Hannah also coaches JV football, and
Right.
they went undefeated last year. And now with a new coach coming in, I'm wondering what his role will be in the future coaching at Eider, if he's going to help the varsity, if he's just going to coach JV. Of course, right now, he really kind of retired, and now he's teaching driver's ed and then coaching the golf team and then JV football. So, and he's a character too. We're going to have a lot of fun with him. He's definitely the personality type person. So we'll have a lot of fun with him tomorrow night. But yeah, golf has really grown here lately around the area, and like it's a great way to get to college because Northeast now has a golf team.
Yeah, absolutely. Gadsden State's got a golf team. They've had one for many, many, many years, and pretty much every college school that has some type of sports usually has a golf team because I'm sure the golf coach and the people at school would rip me a new one, but I'm going to say it anyway. Golf is somewhat less expensive to run than your football and basketball and baseball, softball programs. It does take money. Coaches, listen to me. I know it does take money to run your golf program, but it also not as much as some of the others, I feel like. So, and if I'm wrong, hey, come on in here and be a guest and set me straight. That'll be great. The more people we can get on here, the better it is. So, Phil, you got any closing remarks?
That's about it. Again, we want to thank Coach Norris for coming on. And of course, join us tomorrow night. We'll have Coach Hannah on. Of course, next week, we're planning next Monday to have Jason Bowen, who is the Jackson County Sentinel sports editor. And, of course, he has a lot of stories to tell. And, our sports teams do so great around here. He stays so busy, and he's got an open day. So we're going to have him on and talk a lot about our sports around Jackson County and DeKalb County because, it's special around here. You kind of sort of take it for granted, how good our athletics are in Northeast Alabama.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. And Jason, hands down, one of the best out there. Got his start in DeKalb County. Well, I don't know where he actually started at, but I know he was in DeKalb County for several years and then moved over to Jackson County. And he's one of these that he will be more than happy to help you out, and he don't care to ask you for help every once in a while as well. And I'm always one of these. I know Jason does a great job, and when I'm at a Jackson County game, whether it's two Jackson County teams, at the DeKalb, Jackson, whatever, if I'm there, I will send him a text, say, hey, are you here or do you have somebody here? He's like, he'll give me the answer. Most of the time it's no. And I'm like, I get you scores, updates. Don't worry about it. He's like, I appreciate it. Thanks. And I know y'all rely on him a lot as well at the station, the QSB, by getting the scores in as well. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that's any better as far as keeping people updated on social media about happenings in Jackson County, not just the county, but Scottsboro City as well. All athletics and activities and everything, because I get on Twitter and he keeps everybody. And I asked him, I said, who does that? He said, oh, it's me. He said, I'm the one that's in charge of the Twitter account. Well, X now, but I'm in charge of that account. And I saw something today where he had, I don't remember which sport it was, but it wasn't some of the bigger sports, that something had took place at Scottsboro, and he was recognizing them as well. So he does a great job by getting the word out there for all sports in Jackson County and Scottsboro City.
Yeah, definitely. So, and he'll send me a request on a score that he doesn't have, or he will send me updates, like especially halftime of the Jackson County scores. When he gets them in, he'll forward them to me. Yeah, and and he's always, when we've had him on and interviewed him on on our radio broadcast and things like that. But yeah, DeKalb County. So, and he works over in Jackson County. He's one of those people that probably could have gone on into a larger newspaper, but he says he enjoys it here because he lives in a great world because he gets to cover so much ball. He said he goes to state tournaments and everybody's like, golly bum, you're at everything. He goes, I get to cover everybody. I ain't here for just one team. I'm here for 6, and that newspaper guy might be there for one team. So he said it's kind of sort of rewarding to get to cover sports around here. Also successful.
And the way, oh my goodness, I'll bring this up right now, but the way the regions were set up, and I hope you get to ask him this, but how was he able to handle part of the majority of the teams being at the Pete Matthews Coliseum at Jacksonville, and then Scottsboro City somehow being way out west in Huntsville? How was he able to take care of both of those? Because that's a long distance drive right there from one to the other.
Yeah, I'm sure he had somebody to stretch out there for him, but and do it for him. But, one of the times I think they may have played on a different day or at a different time where he could have went from Jacksonville over to Huntsville and been able to cover it. But yeah, because that's special for Scottsboro to win that state championship in basketball. That's a big thing for them, and I'm sure that was big for Jason to get to cover that, and you feel good for that community, winning state championships, and that's great for everybody. Like Pisgah winning another state championship, it's just huge for those kids.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great. It's going to be great to have Jason on. I know you'll be here. I don't know if I'll be here or not. I don't know who will be covering it, but anyway, you'll see at least half of us here come Monday night with Jason Bowen from the Daily Sentinel over in Jackson County. I think that's still the name of it, Daily Sentinel.
Jackson County Sentinel, yeah.
Jackson County Sentinel.
I think it's Jackson County Sentinel, yeah.
I knew some of the stuff had changed when different people had bought it and everything, so I wasn't sure if that was one of them. So anyway, but backtrack a little bit. Great show tonight for Coach Eddy Norris. Thanks for joining us tonight, Coach. If you still watching, you're welcome. Come back anytime. Join us tomorrow night at 6 o'clock for Coach Rob Hanna. Is that correct? 6 o'clock?
Yes, 6 o'clock.
And then, of course, come back here a week from tonight on Monday night. You're going to have sports editor Jason Bowen from the Jackson County Sentinel will be here at 6 o'clock as well. And so, Phil, it's kind of a little bit of a lull in the seasons going on right now because you don't have as much going on, but it helps us out because we're able to get a few more people to come on certain times.
Yeah, definitely. So I know we've got on the hook. I know Steve Smith from Westbrook's going to try to eventually come on. I've reached out to David Hughes, softball coach at Ider, to come on. So we've got several guests coming up in the future. Hopefully we're going to get Luke Gilbert before he gets off to Jackson. We'll try to get him on and get his thoughts on recruiting and whatnot and the future, what holds on for him. Because once he gets away, we probably won't be able to talk to him again, but we'll try to get him on before the school year's up.
Be great. So if you're new to the show, be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe to Facebook or YouTube, RiverCity-Media. So for Phil Harris, I'm the Howard Chaney. Good night and God bless everybody. And you've been Beyond the Booth.